This is the Godfather of cinema, and in this video I want to talk about a psychological thriller called Smile as You Kill, written and directed by Sarrow. The film has won numerous awards, which I will list in the description and at the end of this video. This film is named after a line from a John Lennon song called Working Class Hero about class differences, from his 1970 album entitled John Lennon Plastic Ono Band. Smile as You Kill opens with a pale, out of work, and soon to be evicted young man named Rico in a chair with a gun, looking and talking directly to the camera. He happens to have a rare lung disease and needs donations because his health insurance does not cover his treatments. Later, Rico uses his gun to force his way into the condo of a man named Terry, who happens to be the creative director of a large health insurance company. Rico will let Terry live on the condition that he designed a crowdfunding page that's good enough to raise the $235,000 he needs for his medical treatments in only 3 days. This is a 90-minute limited setting film that depends entirely upon two actors, Ray Goyos, who plays Rico, and Michael Tay, who plays Terry. Without racking my brain, the three limited setting films that come to my mind right away are Rear Window, Lifeboat, and Rope, all directed by Alfred Hitchcock. You could probably include Wolfgang Petersen's 1981 World War II film Das Boot among these limited setting films as well. Going into a limited setting film, you assume that its director is completely confident in himself and the quality of his script as well as his actors. I didn't go into this indie film expecting something on the level of Christopher Nolan's 1998 film Following, nor did I go into this indie film expecting a paradigm changer like Quentin Tarantino's 1992 film Reservoir Dogs. These types of first films are rare. But if you go into this film looking for an entertaining hour-and-a-half indie film with fresh faces, along with a fresh, though not a wholly original, story, then Smile as You Kill won't disappoint, though I will warn you up front of the elephant in the room, particularly the December the 4th assassination of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. If the director had not made this film well before that crime, which occurred this year, 2024, a case could be made that he used it as inspiration for this film. But as the disclaimer goes, any similarity between anyone or anything in this film with any people or things in real life is a complete coincidence. I found Smile as You Kill to be a decent home quality independent film. Here are some of the things I liked and didn't like about it that may help you decide if you want to see it or not. I'll try my best not to spoil it, and I'll try my best to keep it short. What I liked about this film is the way in which its main characters highlight the class differences of our society. On one hand, you have Rico, who has lost his job, about to be evicted from his apartment, and unable to afford treatments that he needs for a serious medical condition, while on the other hand, you have Terry, a bachelor, with a great career, a condo, and no pressing concerns. Then there are the differences in Rico's and Terry's worldviews that come out in my favorite scene, in which Terry uses his advertising skills to set up Rico's crowdfunding page. To Terry, the fractured human landscape of advertising is tribal, sharply etched, fixed, and primal, in which high virtues such as truth and right and wrong don't exist. And he uses this marketing insight to create a profile for Rico that's the complete opposite of who he is. Here, Terry's marketing experience benefits from the writer and director of this film, who did commercial work with the likes of Alfonso Cuarón, Catherine Bigelow, and Matt Reeves, in addition to marketing work he'd done prior to making this film. In designing the site, Terry's and Rico's worldviews clash often, providing some brief moments of comedy relief. For instance, Rico's father is Cuban and his mother is French, which would make him a French Cuban. Terry, on the other hand, puts Rico down as a Mexican, being that there are more Mexicans in America than French Cubans. In addition to tribalism, sympathy is another way to exploit people out of their money.
I'm not leaving here until we raise the money. Money!
So, having both of Rico's parents killed by a violent drug cartel sounds a lot better than the fact that both of his parents are still living. This scene reminds me of the 1975 satire Network by director Sidney Lumet, and now what I did not like about Smile As You Kill. To begin with, this movie is just under 90 minutes. But I think it could have been even shorter. This isn't a deal breaker though, but shortening it by 10 or 15 minutes would have made it even tighter. Another thing I had a hard time with is how cool Terry seemed with someone pointing a gun at him. The opening scene set up the fact that Rico is not a violent person, despite using his gun to force Terry to set up his crowdfunding page, when he could have used his gun to rob a bank instead. I get that. However, when you look at a film like Reservoir Dogs, what made the garage scene unsettling and terrifying from the cop's perspective was Mr. Blonde sawing off that cop's ear. Just the idea of being at the mercy of a completely unsympathetic psycho capable of anything at any time puts you into that cop's shoes, and this is the problem I had with Terry at times in this film. That is, I could not put myself completely in his shoes because his calm demeanor often betrayed the circumstances.
You know what, man? You can go to hell.
In fact, he even seemed amused by Rico's clumsiness at times, even calling him an amateur, not something you'd expect someone to say to a man holding a gun to his head. But with this said, and taking the film as a whole into account, this was not a deal breaker for me either. The last thing I'll get off my chest is a scene in which Rico lays his gun down to read over his lines for his crowdfunding video. To me, in this scene, Terry can easily make an attempt for the gun and have a good chance at getting it, but for some reason he doesn't. Which is to say, Smile As You Kill is not a perfect film, but it is a decently done, promising second film by writer-director Michael Sarrow, with solid acting overall by Ray Goyos and Michael Tay. That this film took only 12 and a half days to shoot, and that it is also economically produced, as a true indie low-budget film should be produced, deserves a great deal of credit. So I would recommend this film, which you can rent or purchase on Amazon, Google Play, Fandango at Home, and other major platforms. And if you found this review helpful, please like it and leave a comment to help with the algorithm. I would also appreciate it if you would subscribe to this channel and hit the bell to be notified of my future videos. Thanks to all of you and the director for asking me to review this film. Take care, and I will see you next time.